Wednesday night, we're all in sight. 9 o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough heshy. Wanna vote for heshy? It's just enough heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy.
Well, he's once again had trouble putting together.
No, I did not.
You were waiting, you were smiling.
Everything worked out good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. Okay, did I get it right?
Well, technically no, because we're live. The producer
God.
even told us, it's okay.
I can't make you happy. You know, I was in Staten Island this week.
I know you do.
And I
Railroad
wanted
Avenue.
to come to you, but I get lost because all you Staten Island people are...
Well, actually, it's funny that you were in Staten Island while I was in Brooklyn. It was we traded places at that moment.
I was there sitting on a package of salt and doing a stop work order inspection. And I see everybody coming to fix their pools. Wow, everybody's got a pool in Staten Island.
You know, it's funny. I didn't do one in my house to put the pool up, but I've noticed now this past weekend that people started reopening their pools.
Why do they need salt?
You know what? Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, right.
I was in Brooklyn. You were in Staten Island. So we were trading places,
So that day I did 2 stop work orders. I then had to go to a wedding.
Okay.
One of my workers. In the middle of the wedding, I had to leave. I ran to a bar mitzvah for a young boy with no father. Spoke. Went to another wedding. And then back. And trust me, everybody thinks my weeks, that's why when we're going to talk about Nachman Kala.
Oh, I cannot wait. I can't wait to talk about that.
He doesn't do anything. He told me when we get to the 5-minute mark. I don't know when we're there. We didn't even keep track of the clock.
Well, we are definitely keeping track of clock because I have it. We'll be
You're
ready
very into the program.
I am fired up tonight.
I didn't see. Me too. I have a lot to tell you.
We're gonna trade.
There's a lot of people I don't like.
We're gonna trade some barbs tonight. I have a feeling about it. I can't wait, sir.
Good, because I wanted to tell you some things that I'm. Well, anyways.
Yes.
And also, I went to the Republican celebration party for Kala. You can laugh whatever you want, but it was
celebration.
Yeah, it was a packed house. The full 8 people there. Whoa.
Now, how many were campaign staff and how many were
Board of Election? Republican Board of Election, and the fat guy, Jimmy Richie Barsimian.
Oh, Dick Ram. Yeah, Dick Ram.
Yeah.
Dick Ram
he couldn't sit down because there was no chair big enough for him. I didn't know he got that big. I mean, I was fat, man. But I should have been next to him when I was fat. I would have looked good, but I still look good.
Well, you look great. I mean,
I was so jealous yesterday when I came in there. Like, he was quiet. You never hear one of those. And then there's whatever. There's a lot of bad names I want to say.
Oh, we're going to certainly get into that, I'm sure.
We will.
Yes.
As you know, I recovered from my trip to Israel.
Yes. Big topic last week of the show.
And Linda is...
a few of the wrestlers, actually, when I was on last night, actually gave their thoughts and prayers.
I like those wrestlers.
They like to see
you
it.
to one of those wrestling events.
Oh, most of the guys that come on are on the other side of the country. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
I think they go all over, city to city.
Well, I mean, some of them, most of them that I have come on are from like in Iowa. They're in Ohio, Michigan. So, I mean, I'm sure they would love to see you. But you might be seeing them this weekend, maybe. But we'll talk about
wherever I walk, people know me and they recognize me. Nobody recognized Mr. Collin. Nobody knew his, but we're going to get to that anyways.
By the way, it was good to see your rabbi earlier this week. I saw your rabbi.
Yes. He calls me up. He says, "Hey, somebody knocked on my door from your campaign and he wanted my signature." I said, "Sure. How many did he give you? Only one?"
No, he and his wife.
That's it. He has 5 of them in there.
He gave me him.
Got to see anybody else can vote?
Well, he was him and his wife Chana.
And are we on the air yet?
We are on the air, absolutely. We're going to go live in about a minute on the radio for our listeners. So I will say in about 30 seconds that we are going to be on, of course.
You can't say it now.
30 seconds. But I'm going to stall enough time to eventually get into it.
Don't stall. All to all my YouTube and Facebook and Instagram fans, I want to thank you always for your support. I want to thank you for checking.
We're at the 5-minute mark. I knew what I was doing while you were figuring it out. I want to say hello to our favorite stations, of course. First of all, WNEW 1027 FM, the legendary rock and roll radio station that used to play some of your favorites. Also, we have WJPR 1640 AM in beautiful Miami, Florida, where Heshy always wishes he wants to be, especially on a day like today here in the Big Apple. And our flagship station, WSNR 620 AM. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Our radio listeners don't hear our introduction of me screaming hello, everybody, and our music. Because our producer doesn't want to play it again.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we can get some more viewers.
I got music. People like the music.
I like it too, but maybe for the radio, it's not what they want. I don't know.
I want to tell you something. I'm a guy that's in the street. I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff that people call me.
Okay.
I'm the guy that people know on the street. They don't come vote for me, but you vote for other people, like Mr. Felder. He's been in office for 2 months. I like to ask
Have you seen him in these 2 months?
Nobody's seen him. What does he talk? He doesn't show up at events. He doesn't do anything. And our guy Kalman Yeager, who Nachman Kala supported two elections.
Nachman Kala, gave him money, got him on the ballot.
Got him on the ballot, gave up his space as the assembly, not for him to fight a war. And you know who he endorsed, Kalman Yeager?
Sam Sutton,
his opponent.
the Democrat.
This
Karma.
is what they do.
Karma.
And Nachman Kala, who screwed me, voted against me, but I beat him. He got screwed. I had told him he's.
And you helped Nachman Kala set up his run for the assembly last year.
I gave him campaign managers, whatever. He's a dumbbell.
Anyways, we're gonna talk about him.
I want to give you guys a quote.
Okay.
And as I told you, Linda lost her mother.
Yes.
And when she got her from Shiva, Saturday we had the kids come over, my nephew come over. We had some guests. I didn't want to keep Linda alone, kept her busy.
Sure.
And after everybody left, we didn't do pizza.
No.
We're going to do pizza.
Why not?
We usually do Saturday, but since Linda, was just got up from Shiva and it was exhausting and the house was a mess, we said we're just going to not do it this week.
Oh, okay.
And we sat down, we had a heart-to-heart talk. And I want to tell you what I got out of this talk, and I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
I want to give you my quote. I firmly realized that I was placed in some people's lives to show them true and unconventional love. While they were placed in mine to show me self-love and self-worth. And I tell you this quote because Linda and me sat down and she says to me, Heshy, the last kid is gone. It's over. Why do you have to continue doing this for the community? Why do you have to continue running? Why are we still going on? Let's just, hold hands. And she said, do you regret the 35 years that we're together of the stuff that we could have done and not done? And I said to Linda, I look back on my life. I regret it all. I know you're looking at me. I regret not spending more time with Linda. I regret not holding her hand because when I do, it's just exciting. I regret not spending more time with my sons. I don't regret anything in my life. I regret that I could have done more for the community. I could have helped more people. And Linda says, but maybe it's time not to help. Just work for ourselves. And I said to Linda, like I always tell her, the reason I did this was not for the world to be proud of me, for you to be proud of me, for the kids to be proud of me. I want to be their Superman. I don't want them looking at a comic book hero and say, oh, he's our Superman. I am the Superman. I am their Superman. And I wanted her to be proud of me. And Linda says, I'm always proud of you. It's not the point of her being proud of me. It's the point is that I do all of this to show her that we have to help others. And because we help others, that's what made us better people. I see children on the street. I see, I told you a young boy committed suicide when Linda was sitting Shiva. I went. I had another suicide this week.
You went up to the jails this past weekend.
Yeah, went up to, and you know what? I want to tell you something stupid. We went to the jails. We were coming back slow.
Okay.
Driving on the highway at 60 miles an hour on a 65-mile-an-hour highway.
Okay.
So we pulled over to the right lane, to the slow lane. I wasn't driving. My friend Achi was driving.
Okay.
We see a cop giving somebody a ticket.
Okay.
Right as we were like maybe about, I would say, 40 feet away, we saw the guy pull out the ticketing person.
Okay.
And the cops had his lights on, and then he was just shut it off to yellow. Now, we're traveling at 60 miles an hour on a major highway. I drive. When you have to pull out of a place, you have to look and wait for cars to pass. Don't gamble and cut in front of them. There was a massive tractor trailer on the other side doing 70, 80 miles an hour.
Whoa.
So he passed us. Mm-hmm. He was passing or he was getting close.
Right.
As we passed the cop, he put on his lights and pulled us over.
Mm.
And we asked him, why'd you pull us over? He says, well, you didn't avoid and go into the left lane of an emergency vehicle. We said, what? Where did you get this rule? I said, what were you doing? Were you on emergency call? Well, I was pulling out. I said, you were just giving a guy a ticket. We're traveling at 60 miles an hour with maybe 40 feet ahead of us. I think you should be more careful and wait till no cars are coming. He said, well, the truck was in the other lane. You could have gone there. I said, the truck is maybe 100 feet away.
Yeah.
Why would we want to gamble with our lives and cut in at 60 miles an hour? And he gave us a ticket. And we had witness in the car. We had affidavit. He says, well, there was enough room for you to cut in front of the truck. I said, why would we do that? Why would somebody gamble with our lives and get in an accident? I'm a safe driver. When I get onto the highway, yes, let them beep behind me. I wait till the road is clear.
Do you think he...
Wait a minute, he followed us, gave us a ticket. He maybe just gave a guy a ticket 2 minutes before us. And as we were pulling away, he pulled somebody else over. That's what they're doing now.
That's what I was about to say. That's obviously...
But it's frivolous tickets.
He's obviously looking at you as a ticket.
So here's my joke. That wasn't my joke.
Yeah, I don't think that was your joke.
If he doesn't laugh this week, I'm not giving him a raise.
Well, you know what? He's listening, so let's make sure we...
So as you know, I work with the building department.
Yes.
I work with different landlords and neighbors that fight with each other.
Right.
So I was working with these two guys, and for like 3 months till I got them to a deal, and everything wasn't finally. I sit them down in a conference, and I reported to the guy that I was representing that, Mr. Weinberger, I succeeded in making a settlement with your neighbor that is eminently fair for both of you. And he starts screaming at me, fair for both of us? I could have done that myself. What's the point of hiring you?
What's the point?
That wasn't funny?
No. This one was like... What's the point?
He's an idiot.
Well, then, producer, give us that usual, the usual thing you come out with. You see, there you go.
But it was funny. I mean, usually, why did I need you? I could have hired a
Usually these ones are funny, but this one I think you might want to work on for next week's show. Yeah, that was not one that will. But we'll make up for it. We got a lot to talk about. I am no doubt that we'll have a lot of jokes here.
I want you to know, while Felder sat in his office again, that you voted in who did nothing.
Yep.
Mr. Carlo, who nobody knows.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, even to advertise, besides sending out a mailer and get, I don't know how he collected $375,000. I mean, he got matching funds, but there was no way that nobody knows Carlo. And I asked people, they don't like him.
Have you seen him ever in the street all these years? I don't think I've ever seen him once.
Not one place. He didn't go anywhere. And he did get 4,000 votes. I don't know how, because this is stupid Bubba gave it to him. But me, they wouldn't give it to. But, so I had a guy tells me, Heshy, I need a job. So I I called a couple of my contractors.
Gotcha.
I got a job. Another kid says, Heshy, I don't have a place to go for the summer. I got him into a camp working as a waiter.
Oh, good. That's great.
Besides my regular job, besides the hospital, besides all the things that I'm running around and taking care of Linda, so our tenant on the lower level, I live on the third level.
Okay.
I was going to make a duplex many years ago. And so the tenant is moving out. So Linda's sister...
Not the man I met at the funeral, Mr. Cohn?
No. This is a young couple that I took in a couple of years ago. They couldn't afford it. I gave them half-price rent.
Okay.
Very good.
Boy, just enough deal.
And now she's moving out and she wants me to buy her appliances. I said, you paid rent 50% less than
Was
anybody.
that the joke?
That should have been the joke.
That should have been
and
your
she's
joke.
Fighting with me, and I gave her half price. I swear to God, didn't let her pay for electric and heat because I don't like my tenants. In case they miss a payment, they should get shut off the electric and heat. And I want my babies to be kept safe when they live by me. I said, you never paid for it. I paid for it. I gave you a great deal. I didn't make much money. You fixed up your kitchen with my appliances that you threw out that were brand new. You bought nice ones. It's 7 years later. You're buying a house.
I really think that was your joke of the week.
That was your joke of the week. She's threatening me to buy it. I said, never. Anyways, they're moving out. So Linda says, Hershey, let's not rent it anymore. Original plan was to make a duplex.
I passed by the house a bunch of times.
Right, and she says, let's make a duplex. I said, Linda, why do we need the room? And I made a mistake because now that the kids are coming over, we had 4 bedrooms in our house. I designed a very small, nice bedrooms and a little living room, a little dining room, a kitchen. I use every inch of space of that 1,200 square feet.
I don't blame you.
And I have a little deck, like 3 foot in the back.
Nice.
With a little another deck with a sunroom. I did it myself.
Very good.
So I took one of the bedrooms of the kids, matter of fact, my oldest son's kid, and I made him to my own little home office.
Okay.
Desk, a television, a couch.
Wow.
Nobody to bother me. I gave Linda her room because when we were married, we used to sit in this little 10 by 10, 8 by 10 room with a desk on each side, our lights on till late at night, working,
A bandbox almost.
Oh, yeah, papers all over the place, but it was like the coolest office we ever had. And we couldn't get a couch in there. We had like one of these recliner chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you crazy? And I had a
those.
little bit, then you're talking about 30 years ago,
Yeah.
a little maybe 12 by 12 television that I can watch. Because Linda wouldn't let me watch in the room. Anyways, she had her room, I had my room, so we took away 2 bedrooms. And the guest bedroom I made into a cave for myself, with a pull-out couch. And the 4th room we were going to make into like another, for a guest room, but not a real guest room. All of a sudden, Moshe says, we want to come over. You need to have the kids have a place to sleep. So they'll sleep on the floor on a cot. We got a bunk bed, so I had to take away my office. I made now the new bunk bedroom.
Oh, my goodness.
Now the couple wants a room to come every other weekend, so we made one of the bedrooms back again.
Jeez.
The 3rd room I kept as a bar room, bedroom.
You might be building here back in your property.
6 new beds in the house.
Whoa.
Take a guess with me and Linda.
Let me guess on the couch.
Back in that little itty bitty room with our desk side by side.
I think this should have been your joke.
And Linda said, Heshy, I enjoy this better. I said, no, Linda, you make me miserable. You touch my papers.
These should have been your
jokes.
jokes.
At my checkbook, that girl. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, that's
but
what
there's
she
no
must
money in
have.
there anyway because she empties it out.
Well.
I want you to know there's a guy by the name of Debo Hefif or Fafif, whatever his name is.
Okay.
I'm being sued for $5 billion.
That's a great joke.
I ask you a question. If you have a couple extra dollars, come on. I know you got that money hidden under that pillowcase there.
Well, that's the pillowcase. We talked about the mutual fund, so.
Right. So
you want me to get sued for $5 billion?
Let me tell you what he's suing me for.
I want to hear this.
Guy once,
$5 billion.
He made the people. He wouldn't divorce his first.
Did they
wife.
confuse you from Nachman Collar?
I guess he abused his wife. He wouldn't give her a divorce. He wouldn't let her remarry. Then while he was married, he married another woman, but in a Jewish way, so the government wouldn't know it.
Sure.
So he had 2 wives, and now she wants a divorce. He wouldn't give them any money, and he's suing Heshy Tishler. Listen to this. Stated that Heshy Tishler. That I go on my I threatened him that I will go on my weekly radio show every single day until he gives a get, and that I would do this to every man who doesn't give his wife a get and use my radio platform to do so. Now, I never did that.
I don't recall that.
I do say they should give a get, and I never mentioned his name. And if you abuse your wife and your wife wants a divorce, give her a divorce.
I mean, I don't recall that, but that's some strong allegations
so
there,
there
sir.
was a big protest. They protest in front of these guys' houses,
Yep.
and I show up, and I stand outside.
Okay.
And one of them I went to, I was a big celebrity, and they all cheered me on. And yes, we protest. We make them miserable till they give a get. We don't beat them up. If something happens to them, that somebody hurts them, and he falls down and breaks an arm or two, it's not my fault. He was already warned that somebody might do it to him. But again, violence I do not condone. I mean, if something, I might not be unhappy that violence happened.
$5 billion.
Right.
I'm very interested. How do you come up with $5 billion?
If I lose the court case, you think I could maybe put up a bond like Mr. Trump?
Well, Mr. Collar's got a few dollars
so
around.
He's not suing me only. He's suing like 90 people in that lawsuit.
Now, if you would have been on Mr. Collar's campaign, you probably would have got some of that money to come up with the $5 billion. Because, apparently there was 1 or 2 individuals that worked on that campaign that basically were getting almost like a settlement almost.
So as me and Linda were discussing about putting our apartments together, the 2 apartments make it back into a duplex. Right before I left Sunday morning, I got a call like 7 a.m.
Right.
And then quickly they hung up after like 3 rings.
Okay.
So I call back. Maybe it's my fault. I pushed the button wrong. And he said, Heshy, I'm sorry I called you so early. I said, no, don't worry about it. I get up 4:35 in the morning. He says, Heshy, there's a widow with 7 children.
Oh, my God.
And she has a nice apartment. She pays like $4,000 a month rent.
Wow.
And she's being thrown out of the apartment because the owner is selling it. And she doesn't want to fight with him. She went to the Jewish court. They said she has to get out in August or September.
Okay.
And she has nowhere to go. She only wants to live in Borough Park. And we know you, Heshy, you solve problems. I said,
it's quite a problem to solve.
And he says to me, you don't have any apartments available in the area? I said, not over there. And I said, and I was just thinking, and I was just remembering what me and Linda discussed. I said, I have an apartment being empty July. Please, can we have it? I said, you have 7 kids. And he says to me, I heard you like kids. I said, okay.
Wow.
I said, okay, come over, you sold me.
Wow.
And I told him the rent is much lower and we include heat and electric. He says, really? I said, I make sure that the kids who grew up in this house are healthy and safe as best as I can. I'm responsible for everybody living under my roof.
You better not tell everybody else this, because then...
Well, that's the way they should live their life. Okay?
Well,
that's why I was put into people's lives who I give unconditional love. And so many people teach me what my self-worth is.
Which is a great segue, because if you're out there, HeshyTischler.com.
Yeah.
JustEnoughHeshy@gmail.com. 5318 16th Avenue. You like what you hear from Heshy right now, talking about solving problems, whether it was the beginning
And
of the
I
show,
go to
helping
events. I
families,
visit the
helping the sick, visiting people in the jails. We know what Heshy's done for feeding the homeless. We know what Heshy's done for mental health. This is the man that we need in the city council to represent us in the 44th Councilmatic District. Come on down, 5318 16th Avenue. Heshy's on the Republican line. We're going to have a third-party line.
I am the official Republican nominee.
And we're going to have a third-party line. So this is the opportunity. November's going to be different. We know that last time, 2 months ago, sure, certain people can pull out votes, but this is going to be different. We know that the mayor's race is going to pull Republicans out to vote. We know Heshy's record. This is the first time that Heshy's going to get a fair chance. So come on down. Like I said, 5318 16th Avenue, JustEnoughHeshy@gmail.com, HeshyTischler.com, and get your shoes. We're going to a lot of stuff to do out here. We're going to get this man elected, because now is the time. Like I said, 2 months ago, the weather was cold. I didn't want to come out. I don't want to do anything. Now we got 5 months to prepare.
November's going to be a little cold. No, maybe not.
But we got 5 months to prepare.
Yeah.
And now we know that last time, listen.
HeshyTischler.com.
HeshyTischler.com.
$25, $30. Send it in. But I went to Nachman Kala's victory.
This I want to hear victory for.
So when they told me it's going to be a victory party, they called me around 5 to 9.
Yeah, you called me, and I was like, they're having one?
Yeah, and you already knew before even the 9 o'clock call. Yeah. He has no chance. I'm not going anywhere.
I was out yesterday.
I was to do your show.
I was doing my show, but I was out and out because obviously our districts overlap, and I was talking to people, and I could take the temperature of the area, and I'm like, this guy's got no shot.
So I decided to go up and do an interview and speak to some of the people. Even if he was going to lose, I thought there'd be people there. I got up there was 8 people. Mr. Richie Bassimian, I'm not making fun of fat people, but Richie Bassimian is fat and stupid and a double crosser. I mean, this man lies and lies to me, so I didn't even look at him. Then you had this little friend, something there. I don't know what it was.
Oh, the one who looks like Lisa. Yeah,
party.
the
She
conservative party.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you had some other guy who's just eating away, edging something, who doesn't know what he's doing. They all said, hi, Heshy. I didn't even ignore them. Then afterwards, I went over to Richie Bassimian because nobody came. I had nobody to talk to.
That's crazy. Only
8 people. And there was food all over. And except for the Russian guy eating the whole time, nobody else did. Then Nachman Kala's wife came.
Okay.
His son came, but Nachman never came.
No, he never came.
No. Didn't come to his own victory party. Anyways, or losing party.
Wow, so 8 people were there.
Right, so, and...
8 people, huh?
And they were all ready to sell it, whatever, so I went over to Bassimian. We're going to beat you. You're a liar. Everything that comes out of your mouth, we could have been friends, but now I'm the Republican nominee. Even if you don't be like Trump, you don't support me, I'm going to win. I'm going to crush you, and I'm going to make sure that you lose your election.
And he's got a race, Bassimian. He's got a very tough race coming up here in a few weeks, if he's ever...
We're supporting his candidate, George
Sarantopoulos.
You can say that. You're not Jewish. You don't know
I'm not, but I'm not Greek either, but I pronounce it enough times.
American.
George Sarantopoulos here.
So we're hoping that he beats him, and no matter
I think he is going to beat him. I think that George Sarantopoulos, who's by the way also lost a lot of weight like you, I think he's pounding the pavement. I think that he's going out.
He doesn't look as good as me.
No, well, obviously, you got a lot more hair than him on the top.
By the way, you know why I'm wearing my jacket this week?
Well, because it's a lot colder today.
No, I spilled some pink stuff on my shirt, so I have to.
Hope it wasn't Pepto-Bismol or something.
No, I could use some.
But I got to give a plug because our buddy Anthony Finkel was so kind enough on Instagram, by the way, to share the plug that I gave last week. I want to do it again. So right now, our buddy, Mr. Anthony Finkel, give him a call at 347-228-2625 with DPH Property Maintenance. He's got the Trash Genie services, which, again, your neighbor should sign up with. It's a weekly waste management. It's magic for your home or building. Refer a neighbor and get 1 month free. It's a curbside trash or curb appeal subscription program. With the Trash Genie service includes its weekly sorting for all trash and recycling. They bring the trash bins back after sanitation collection, especially now here in our area. You know it's a lot. You've got removal of all litter and debris, especially with all the weather we've had recently. Broom sweeping of the property. We know the leaves are still blowing.
The leaves are blowing. The sanitation just gives you a ticket
and these
for having a bottle.
And these guys are going to help you avoid those fines because they'll come on down. They've got trash liners for refuse management programs in your area, and the monthly subscription is $305 at a minimum. All property services are weekly, including, like I said, trash, recycling bags are included. And later on in the year, snow removal, they'll help you out with that. These guys are all over South Brooklyn. Anthony Finkel's a local guy. He's the next neighborhood over in Ditmas Park. He's got property here in the area, also in Bay Ridge, Bensonhurst. A guy that's been a big supporter of ours calls into the show, and let's support those. And that's one more time, 347-228-2625, DPH Property Maintenance. You can also check him out at dph.nyc. Also check him out on Instagram. Anthony J. Finkel is personally on Instagram and Facebook. And that's, again, tell him that the Just Enough Heshy show, Tom and Heshy referred to you, and he'll tack on even another discount there. So let's go support our buddies there. Yes, sir.
You know, the homeless project that came in Borough Park.
Yep.
They were supposed to help me. They wanted my help. They don't want my help. And
what else is new?
And they didn't give me the signatures. They didn't raise the money. Now I can't get them on the phone because they think I want from them something. It's okay. What has Lester Chang has done? Zero. What has Simcha Felder now that he's in office for 2 months?
Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing.
Where's anybody helping them? Nothing.
Nothing. And they're going to get nothing. That's the moral of the story.
They didn't want to even bring me people for the mayor. So anyways, the mayor called me up.
Okay.
And the mayor said, Heshy, where are my signatures? I said, well, I have 3,000 signatures for you, but you never came to the event that you promised to cancel on me
about
3
2 weeks
times.
ago, yes.
You didn't come on my show. He says, Heshy, I've been busy. I said, nobody's as busy as me, and I know you're running a city, Mr. Mayor, but I saw you on, like, crappy podcasts.
Yes.
I saw you going to stupid events with 10 people there, and you're telling me a guy who's helped you for no money, you wouldn't even give me 10 minutes, and then when I did come to you, had an emergency, you just wouldn't even show up with my people around?
And a man who needs you, by the way, because this is a community, he has been laser focused on it. You'd be a great help to him.
Pick up my signatures, I'm going to send my brother. I said, absolutely not. Then his brother calls me, what are you going to do with the signatures? I told you originally that if you come, I will give it to you. If not, they go in the garbage. He says, you're going to throw away 3,000 signatures? I said, I'm not throwing it away. You did not earn them. I do not feel to give you something that you're not entitled to. I'm not like those other people that lie and cheat.
So what he expected was typical, like everybody else, that, okay, you would do all the work, and then they would take it, and then forget about you.
This guy, Zach, I don't want to say his last name. He was telling everybody bad things about me. He can go with this guy and that guy. He gave names. So far, he's done nothing, and he's lost me. You don't get a third chance. You get one chance with me. You get a second chance with me because 2 years ago they screwed me up. They screwed me up now. They're not going to get a third chance. It's not that I wouldn't help them, but I'm busy helping other people.
But you know what? I think you're better off in the long run without the mayor, because what the mayor continues to do is punish communities here, like in Southern Brooklyn, by putting up homeless shelter after homeless shelter. He
take away funding from our youth care centers and give it to some other stupid program.
He continues to be tone deaf to constituents that he needs. So really, at the end of the day, you're better off with him. You're going to win this race without him. He's going to be a Fox News talking head come January, and that's all he'll be, because at this point, if he's not in a jail cell, he'll be on Fox News at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what he's going to be. The swagger mayor, he ain't got no swagger because he's going to be out of a job here coming up in a few months. So at the end of the day, you don't need him. Most of the people here can't stand him, and it's really himself to blame because he had a chance. He's right on public safety. He's right on a number of things. But what he continues to do, whether it's homeless shelters, by, like you said, by Maimonides, whether it's the one on 86th Street and 25th Avenue, the ones he wants to put up in Staten Island, what he's done in Queens, what he's trying to do in Sheepshead Bay over there on Coyle Street. So really at the end of the day, and he's doing nothing about these energy storage sites for these batteries. Right. He is a man that really no good.
You know what he's now going to spend $400 million on? To beautify Fifth Avenue. Now, they already took away enough space. Fifth Avenue is a main thoroughfare with stores. You want people to drive through there. He's going to spend $400 million then when we could use all of that money for better programs, aftercare programs, and this is what you're going to beautify city streets.
Well, it's just like we talked about last week. Listen,
why don't you come beautify my street, Mr. Mayor?
It's just like we talked about last week with the Thrive New York City with de Blasio's wife stealing $1 billion. He's now looking to steal $400 million. And that's on top of what he did with these stupid fines with the composting, making people pay for garbage bins. I mean, this guy's a terrible...
By the way, I was doing an inspection.
Yeah.
And I got a call at one of the buildings that I help out. The mayor's task force is here.
I did see that.
And we didn't let them in. So so they start threatening they're gonna push the guy. They push the super. The super's a big tough guy. So he says, and he puts me on the phone. They said, "Oh, we didn't touch you." And we have it on video. He pushed him a little bit. So the guy gets on the phone with me. "I'm from the mayor's task force. The law says you have to let me in." The fireman says, "I'm gonna quote you the law." I said, "Listen to me. I know the Constitution. You cross over that line. You trespass into my building." I said, "What are you even there for? For anonymous complaint." So you don't even know why you're there. I said, mayor's task force means that I was just with the mayor 2 days ago, and the mayor's an asshole. Excuse my language. So if you think that I give a crap what task force with you, if you walk in there, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to call you every day. First, I'm going to beat the crap out of you for trespassing on my property. So you can have me. I am a policeman. You can't threaten the policeman. I said, if you trespass on my property, I'm going to shoot you dead. I don't use a gun, God forbid. He said, you can't.
You can use a water gun.
I said, you can't. He said, you can't scare me. I said, you break the Constitution, my civil rights. I'm not no other loser from the street. This is not COVID. My name is Heshy Tishlo. You better check me out. Anyways, he gives the super back the phone.
Love it.
Super calls me back in 10 minutes. He's leaving. Him, the fire department, and the HB, they all came.
But you know what, though?
Not everybody's me. I'm trying to teach you guys, don't be scared.
But I think that this is a moral of the story in why the mayor has these problems. Yeah. And at the end of the day...
these inspectors should be busy inspecting and keeping and giving us
advice. They're not.
And protect. One inspector, a Chinese guy with a big, tough American guy, a fireman, they came. I said, you're a fireman. What are you coming to inspect? We want to get into the building. So you go from building to building to inspect complaints. That you should be fighting fires and being busy with this. And you know these complaints called anonymous complaint. That there's no light or not hot water. It's not even your problem or dust control. So one of them had a lot of tattoos, the Chinese guy. Tattoos up and down. I said, do you actually think we're going to let a tattoo guy in the building? She says, oh, what's the problem with a tattoo? I said, well, I'm reading your tattoos, and it seems like to me that they spell out MS-13. And these women are scared of rapists and gang members. Oh, it's not MS-13. I said, I don't know, man. You look like a gangster. If you walk into the building, fireman or not, MS-13.
It was just enough tattoos for you there, huh?
While he was tattooed. I said, a fireman should be tattooed like this? Aren't you embarrassed, man? I understand one tattoo. You want to put your mama on, because half of them have their mothers on it. What kind of idiots put their mother tattoo on? I don't want to hear if you have a tattoo.
I don't, actually. You know, it's funny, actually, on my show, I'm supposed to get one. Why would somebody put their mother on their body? Well, I think people just do things...
Your girlfriend, I can maybe understand.
Listen, my cousin years ago I thought it was stupid, and he got a tattoo of like the Grim Reaper on his leg. I thought that was tacky, but there's people.
I saw a lady.
It's an art, you know. In wrestling, it's a big art, by the way, getting tattoos.
I understand that, and you need it for the show. The point is if you're using it, but again, even them, they don't like MS-13.
Well, I was taught years ago.
Put the devil on their body.
I was taught.
By the way, half of those tattoos are fake.
Well, I was taught years ago, it either was a piercing or a tattoo, to not really get them because you want to make it mean something. I never got a piercing. I never got a tattoo, but a lot of people do. But I understand what you're saying.
I went to that bar mitzvah speaking event.
Okay.
And I met 4 Holocaust survivors. I have a
wow.
picture of them.
Oh,
Then I got up to speak
Baruch
and I
Hashem.
told this story
Baruch
from the
Hashem.
Holocaust. They came over to me crying. They said, "Wow, Heshy, we were there.
Wow.
And the story you tell is beautiful." And I'm going to get them on our show. We're going to interview
That's
them.
great.
Yeah. And they showed me, each one showed me that tattoo.
Wow.
And they said, this is what Hitler did to us. So if people are for something, and I always ask people, why don't you take it off? Why don't you get it done? He says, no, we need a reminder to show our children what an animal pig could do to you. And we will have to fight them every day.
Well, that's that.
And
but,
she was so precious.
and that has meaning. That has meaning.
And they told me they like to fight.
Yes.
I was driving in a Tesla car with my partner.
Oh wow.
And all of a sudden, he gets his hands off the wheel. He starts looking to me, talking to me. I said, please stop that. The car could drive itself. And I, sweetie, the car swerved into the lane, cut across another car. He says, oh, the car has its own program. I said, we're going to hit the wall. Don't worry about it. I said, this is crazy. And when I got home, it was cute because I was tired.
Right.
A car that could drive itself. I think Tesla's going to, I hear they're going to be sending out cars. I don't know how it's going to work to drive
Well, I mean, you have
itself.
drones that deliver things from Amazon, so I mean, I guess they'll
itself?
eventually. Yeah, drones deliver. Apparently, that's a thing that they tested out. So maybe we'll
didn't
have
see that yet.
drones driving cars. Could you imagine no, maybe it'll be just enough driving for you. There.
Yeah, I
Did you like the Tesla, by the way? I'm sure the listeners would like to know. What did you think?
So it was a small car.
Okay.
But it actually has 5 seats, and then the back trunk, even though it's tight sit,
Right.
it pops out to another 2 or 3 seats.
Okay.
And you're right, you can't sit there on me, but you can put baby seats there and put the babies there. No, because in my car now, I have the baby seat
Yep.
on the second seat, so when somebody comes in, they lose a seat or 2. I know you can say, why do you have a baby seat? Yes.
Now you always might have something back up
Right,
or
so
something.
for the kids and the grandkids. And like, I thought I got rid of the stupid baby seats. Now I
Well,
have
you
to
just said you're taking in 7 kids here coming up in 2 months.
I know.
You actually might need that baby seat. 'Cause
I know.
I could have a feeling that they're going to ask you, hey, Heshy, can I go get a ride to the grocery store? Can I go to Moshe's?
What do you think
KRM?
about Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia? They celebrated him. They cheered him. You never seen them ever cheer a president like that. No other, even though Biden.
Well, we have
has-
a president, first of all. But yeah, I mean,
and Biden. There's no way you got a severe, what was it, the prostate cancer,
yeah.
but it's like in its late in stage 9 already. Or
well,
something.
I read something yesterday that he hadn't had it checked out since 2014.
So
What do you think of that?
He had cancer.
Yep.
And you were still willing to be president and die in office.
Because it's the power, it's a sick. He's a sick man in terms of figuratively and literally. He wanted the power. You got to remember, Biden. This man's been in office for what?
50 years.
52 years.
Yeah.
53 years. You're talking about somebody that they're addicted to that power hungry. I mean, listen, my thoughts and prayers are out. Let me put it out there, though. I am praying for him, and obviously we wish him all the best. But in terms of being in politics, that's the quintessential career politician that. You know,
I was at an inspection.
Okay.
And an ambulance was coming. You know how
they were coming for you after you said something?
No, whatever. They should have. So I see, I like police or ambulance. You step out of the way.
Yep, sure,
And as
sure.
you can see, I got a ticket for being behind the cop.
Well, you
Not
missed
even
it 2 days ago. There was a big accident in our district.
So-
I actually
so
was
but,
right
the
next to
ambulance
it.
was coming, and all of a sudden, right in front of me, the ambulance stops, pulls over. The lady driver gets out of the car, jumps to her car, and moves it to the other street for alternate side. She was in a rush, so she shouldn't get a ticket.
Uh-huh.
I walked over to her. I said, "What are you doing?" She says, "Well, I had to park the ambulance." I said, "But you used your lights and sirens to do that. That's illegal. You know, what you're doing now is you could have jeopardized people cutting lights, people
Sure.
like to cut corners." She says, "Oh, somebody else needs the ambulance." I said, "That's still not a reason to scare the community." I was angry at her. I went and told the boss. Not that I needed to rat her out, but she jeopardized people's lives.
Because you don't want her to do it again.
And so she says to me,
What?
Cops do it all the time. I said, right. So because other people are doing wrong,
That
not
you
you're
should do the
allowed to
same
do
thing,
wrong,
yeah.
But this is something that you took under your wing to be honorable. I said, "Do you think I can get lights and sirens and do that to people?" People have the siren in the car and they beep you something.
Yeah.
They make you crazy.
No, I understand what you're saying, especially when, things happen
very
and you're
angry
concerned.
with
I
that.
can understand, but Biden, so I mean, like, what do you think about this whole thing with prostate cancer and the fact that he didn't get it checked out? and they didn't tell the American people. And God forbid, what if he ran?
Was reelected.
Right, and what if he had run for re-election and got re-elected? I mean,
What was his Secretary of Defense also disappeared for a week? Remember, I forgot the guy's name?
Yeah.
Because he went on operation and he didn't tell anybody about it.
Was it Lloyd Austin, I
I
think?
think so,
It was
yes.
Lloyd Austin.
You can't do that. You have to inform us what's going on.
But that tells you that really what this
don't
country
care
was
about us,
facing.
yeah.
I mean, that's a serious issue here. And these are reasons why you need to, again, HeshyTishla.com, JustEnoughHeshy@gmail.com, 5318 16th Avenue. Look at this man. He's going and trying to stop traffic. He's trying to go out there and protect the people.
You know,
He's
they
going
close
out-
up the streets, and I fight with them. I said, "Did you inform this? They close up town." I said, "You can't do that."
Well, how about by here with this construction work they've been
But
doing?
all over,
here?
and none
I
of
know.
our councilmen or assemblymen tell us what streets to close. We stuck something to drive a block an hour and a half.
Well, we have a councilman that has been in office for 2 months, haven't seen.
Nobody's seen.
We have an
Nobody can-
assemblyman who was the councilman who this past week maybe uttered his first word since he's been in office for over 4 months, and that was to tell people to vote for Sam Sutton. We're going to have another guy who's a state senator, Sam Sutton, who's probably going to do just as little.
Right, and he ratted on his own community, and they still voted him.
And he was going around with Andrew Cuomo. We were talking about this last
Wow.
one, so we got really some bad set of
That's what
politicians.
you guys want, and you know what? You got to stand up for it again.
But I tell you what, Richie Bossimian, he wanted it too because he
he's
supported,
the Republican chairman.
and he puts up Nachman Collar, a man that nobody knows. Think about this.
Because Nachman Collar gave him money, and Nachman Collar helped him support a Democrat for city council.
And I know for a fact that the Conservative Party, they're friends with the likes of Sam Sutton.
Yeah.
They're friends with the likes of Kalman Yeager and Simca Eichenstein and Simca Felder and Susan
I like
Zwang.
Simcha Eichenstein.
I know, but they're not doing anything for the community. They're not doing anything. They call themselves common sense Democrats, but when the socialists and the DSA members that run this city and state, they go up there and what do? They don't stop the legislation. They don't fight and do anything.
I like when you brought that up. We now have a guy running for mayor. What's his name? The one we hate the most on the planet?
Zohan Martinati.
Zohan's an idiot. Who do we hate?
Andrew
more
Cuomo.
More than anything on this planet.
And I see them all falling in line with him.
He was what? What was his original position before governor?
He was Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Attorney General.
And then we have another.
And he was with HUD.
Now we have a current Attorney General.
Letitia James.
Another wacko idiot.
And who was also public advocate and was a city council member
now,
years ago.
You know,
Yes.
they're now investigating a new
On Cuomo with the nursing
Cuomo
homes.
with the
Yep.
nursing homes.
Yep.
So, and Cuomo's upset. Oh, political! They're coming after me right before the mayoral vote. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Mayor Adams says, "Well, I'm not going to mix into it, but whatever happens, happens." Mayor, that's what we said about you too when you were up for indictment. Whatever happens, happens.
But these are the people that are in charge of our
Letitia
government.
now gets on TV, starts screaming, "I didn't do nothing wrong. You committed fraud." She says, "Well, I made a mistake." There's no mistakes. You have people being cops that are arrested and going to jail because they didn't know the
Now,
law.
if Trump
And
was
she
doing,
knew the law.
and if Trump was doing something, you would hear her as the
She
first.
did.
That's what I'm saying.
She's
That's what I'm
only
saying.
blaming Trump when it's everybody else after her.
They're just
she
all-
needs to be thrown out. She has to resign, and she has to go to jail.
They're all bad. That's why, like, when I
But
hear.
this is who runs the city. Cuomo, an idiot. Letitia James, a lying thief.
And Jumaane Williams, who we've talked about, can't even keep his own home.
I don't know.
We got Kathy Hochul as governor. And these are the people, by the way.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Every minute I see in the newspaper, Kathy Hochul's in New York. Kathy Hochul's here. She's at the. She went. You know why?
What?
I went to the Israeli Day Parade.
Yes.
I came back a little early.
Mm-hmm.
And I see over there Hochul.
Mm-hmm.
I see over there Nadler, that piece of little
Ah.
garbage. And they asked him. They said, Nadler, do you agree with Elon Omar? No, I don't agree with her views, but Israel shouldn't go into Gaza and they should make peace. This guy's an idiot, and you guys keep voting him in.
And he used to represent Borough Park for years. Remember
I know.
that? He used to represent Borough Park for a long time.
And just a winner. And then I see all these other fake politicians like Richie Bossimian.
Ah.
So you're all together. You're all celebrating.
Alec Bokrasny, Ari Kagan,
and none of you guys
all these
support
losers.
Israel. You don't donate to Israel. You don't defend it when the protests come. You know what I mean? And here you are marching our parade so you can get our money and votes.
Well, it's a photo op. They want the photo
No,
op.
they also want the money.
Yeah, but it's a photo op. They want to show that they're
Now, I'm
on
going to
the.
send out the picture of Richie Bassimian, who's a predominantly Arab Muslim neighborhood,
Yep.
to all of his constituents, how he marched in the Israeli Day Parade.
Well, you know what? I mean,
They're
obviously.
not gonna like that. By the way, you know, Colombia, again, had a Palestinian protest where they were
I
burning-
did see. I got
they
the
were
alert on
burning-
that.
They
Yep.
were burning diplomas.
Yep.
Understand, I got you 1 protest, 2 protests, 5 protests, 10 protests.
Yeah.
But you continue to allow these people to protest and cause trouble.
It's a mental
So,
illness.
no, it's
It's
not
a-
them. It's not them, but the cops are allowing it. The mayor's
Well-
office are allowing it. Don't tell me they can't stop it. They can.
I think the mayor, he's trying to play both sides of the
You
coin.
can't do that.
That's what he's trying to do.
Wrong is wrong and right is right.
I'm with you, but he is just trying to play 2 sides of the coin.
Today is an important day for me otherwise.
Okay.
My father, as you know, was a Holocaust survivor.
Yes.
He was from a town called Kalev in Hungary.
Wow.
He was a soldier. He was captured. They put him in 4 different concentration camps. Now, his town was pretty much left alone till beginning to mid-1944.
Okay.
And,
Toward the tail end of things.
And they rounded up the whole town,
Ugh.
put them in a cattle car, and killed everybody. So we don't know. Usually, the Jews, Day every year on the death of your father, mother, you say a prayer called Kaddish.
Okay.
A prayer of death to have the soul go higher, to remember them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important that your children say it for you.
Sure.
Like my mother-in-law has 5 daughters, so I'm going to be saying the Kaddish prayer for her.
Okay.
Or you hire somebody. It makes the soul better, and God.
You want to hire the producer to do it?
Produce, no, if you have a parent, you can't say it.
Well, no, you have another former producer here still.
I don't like that.
You don't like him. You
So
starts with
anyways,
a Y.
So today, 81 years ago, they rounded up my grandfather's
been that
town.
long? 81 years? Oh,
They rounded up my grandfather's town, shoved them all in a paddle car, and killed them. So we don't know what day he was killed on. So all the children and grandchildren, like my father, picked today is the date where everybody who lost somebody that day says the Kaddish for the town. So I just want to tell all of you that the town of Kalev, and I remember, and I said Kaddish today for my grandfather, who was Yitzchak Isaac, or you call him Isaac, whatever, and my aunts and uncles that would have lived, the 7 of them, and cousins, the few hundred or maybe a few thousand in that town that were killed. Today is their 81th anniversary of the day that the Nazis came in and killed them. And may God bless their souls, and they should pray for all of you, all of America, all of this great country, and our wonderful president and holy man that I believe he's holy.
Well, you know what? That makes me think that
President
sometimes.
Donald J. Trump.
Well, yes, I agree with you on almost all that. But I think it also should make you feel that, you know, we take things for granted in life. You know, we look at all the simple things we get on an everyday basis. And I think sometimes we take those freedoms for granted. You talked about just a horrible event in the world. And there were people that had no choice and had no way to fight that. And, you know, here in this country, we get all these different things. You were talking before about the heat. You were talking about cable TV, all these different things. But what happened to this day, and there are people that are running for office that almost are in agreement with what was done 81 years ago, like Zorhan Mardanani. It's just
Eli
terrible
Omar,
thing.
another idiot loser. You know.
Jamal Bowman last year is another
You
example.
know what I like about President Trump?
What?
The president of
That he stopped doing tariffs?
But the president of South Africa, his name is Cyril Ramaphosa.
I'm glad you said it rather than me, but go ahead.
So he comes to the White House, and the president is so good. What he did to Zelensky is nothing. This guy says to him, you know, you're killing white farmers. You're not right. He says, no, it's a lie. You know, he says it's fake news. And President Trump takes out a video and says, look, I'm just showing you 1,000 crosses or 1,000 white farmers.
Wow.
Here it is on video. How could you deny it? And he says, let's be calm and let's do it in like a private room. He says, do what private room? He says, well, we have crime and most of it is black on black. He says, but here's 1,000 murders. 1,000 murders of white farmers that did nothing. 1,000 times? You didn't all kill them at one shot.
Yeah.
You have racial profiling. You're killing the white farmers and you're not doing nothing about it. So I like President Trump. He came out straight. He's not scared of Zelensky. He's not scared of anybody. And Zelensky.
Yeah, people seem to forget the fact that we gave Zelensky all that money over the past years. And that was, by the way, a mess created by Barack Obama and Joe Biden, by the way. You know, people keep saying,
by the way, I want to give you the quote.
All right, give me the
the
quote.
president of South Africa says the majority of the crimes are black on black. And Trump told him, he said, the farmers are not black.
Yeah, because he had the proof of it. He had the proof. The proof's in the pudding.
You know that our country is a very big land.
Okay.
And with the new technology today, even Iran is shooting missiles 500, 1,000 miles. Okay, they can't get to America. But sooner or later, the technology will let them.
Absolutely.
And President Trump is creating something called the Golden Dome. It's going to cost about $25 billion.
Well, didn't Israel have something like this?
They have also right, correct, but it's something that America gave them.
Okay.
But the Golden Dome Israel is a small country, so it's easy.
Sure.
To,
and where they are proximity-wise.
Yeah, producer, what is the name of that shield? I forgot what it is. It's a special. You're right. I always forget the name of it. It's a great protection that fights the missiles off, and 90% of the time they get.
So President Trump wants to create a Golden Dome. Talk about it.
And that will, but our land is so vast.
It is.
So there's like almost no way to protect it. So he's going to be putting $25 billion. I heard it's going to cost even 20 times more than that.
Wow.
And it won't be into effect till 2033 or 2039. But at least he understands that America has to be ready for the future and protect itself with this Golden Dome technology.
I think that's a big point because, you know, we see all these different things happening in the world right now. We still have a lot of unrest. Obviously, there's a situation with Iran. Will they really disarm? We've got
the Houthis now. We're not going to let anybody use the port of Haifa. Who do you think you are? We just blew you up. You're a loser. You're lucky you have that military hat because that's all you can afford.
Well, you know, if people are just...
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously. Yes.
Everybody's telling you were just talking about, you know, the protest, how bad they are.
In Colombia, yes, it was all on my there's an app called Citizen.
I saw a video with people protesting in Gaza, Hamas go away.
Yeah.
Hamas go away.
Right.
The people are realizing that there's only so much you can take.
No, and we know what happened on October 7th, 2023, what was done, you know, to innocent people. And, you know, how can people sit back and they're only... You get pushed to a point.
Babies cut off.
How about families were sitting having dinner and they were just killed for no reason?
But even if you break in and you shoot them during the combat unit, when you get there and you capture them, you kill them. Even if you want to kill them, but you rape them, and if after that you went and killed the babies, cutting off their heads, I don't understand. And I'm watching some of the videos. And people saying it's not true, it's not true. We're showing you it's true.
I remember we talked about this after it happened.
The people are still, after the whole world sees it, they still deny
people
it.
Are just this, like I said a little while ago, people have a mental illness. There's people out there.
Did I tell you, you did mention in the beginning of the show, my law school, June 5th is my test.
Well, boy, we're coming up to that. So are you, now I know you go to all these places. You go to the jail.
I don't have the time to study.
So what are you doing this open book? How are you pulling this off?
I'm trying. I look at a page. I think that I'm so smart. I know you guys are laughing at me and I have no
You're going to be
sense.
like Rodney Danger in the field in that movie Back to School. If you don't do this, right? You're going to be like, listen, you better do this now because you don't want to be like you don't want to be like Rodney Dangerfield in that movie years ago.
I'm going to get in there. That's it.
You better do it because, you know, June 5th coming up.
I told you, I help out a lot of people. I helped out synagogues. There's
yes,
a synagogue
I've
in
heard
Borough
firsthand.
Park
Yes,
on 16th Avenue.
Okay,
that about 15 years ago they couldn't get their permits and their plumbing work couldn't be finished. So I had my brother's company finish the plumbing. I helped them with the paperwork, and we got them their job finished, and they opened their synagogue.
That's nice.
Right over here, called the Munis Yisrael here in
Borough
Park.
I think I've seen it. Yeah,
16 and 43rd.
Yeah, I've seen it.
About 7-8 years ago, they couldn't have air conditions, and the city was fining them. I went for almost no money, my cost, and I got them people. I got their air conditioning system legalized, inspected, and signed off.
Sign, seal, deliver. I'm yours.
2 years ago, I went for signatures to stand in front there. They were screaming at me, "Get away from here! You did nothing for us. We don't care about you."
I thought you got the air conditioning.
I air conditioned the place legitimate with a C of O. Anyways, screaming, hollering, embarrassing me. Whenever some people like signs, some people didn't. Terrible.
Oh my goodness!
Take a guess what happened yesterday.
They closed.
No, they got a big super duper violation and almost a vacate order.
I was close.
So a friend of mine was who goes to the jails and he's very big time in politics.
Okay.
His name is Chaim. I don't want to say his last name.
Yeah, don't.
Heshi has a violation. You got to help him. I said, under no circumstance. I said, what's wrong with you? He says, Heshi.
Stop. Was that your joke of the week? That was the joke.
They fired that guy who did that to you. There's a new administration, and they love you. I said, understand. You stood by while they embarrassed and hurt me. And I understand if you but you didn't stop them. For what? What did I do wrong and you want me to help them? Please,
people have selective amnesia.
I just made my son, Avram, go to court for a guy who lied to me and Avram 10 times. Who screwed me. And Avram said, please don't make me do the case.
Twice was enough. But while you hold that thought, I do want to say goodbye to our listeners here on the radio. Yep, wow. We're at that point.
We didn't even do half our stuff.
WNEW 1027 FM. Thank you as always. WJPR 1640 in Miami, Florida, where Heshi definitely is playing that Will Smith song. And of course, our flagship WSNR 620 AM. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week here on the Just Like Heshi Show.
Blasio,
yes.
Who ripped off the city.
You're a big fan of his, I know.
Right. I call him the Blabio.
Yeah.
The idiot.
Yeah.
Anyways, so he ripped off the city for $284,000.
He has to pay back for the presidential.
He has to pay back. Do you know he sued the city for legal fees and won?
So
we had to pay his legal fees so he can be found guilty to pay the city the money he stole.
You stole the word out of my mouth.
I have no idea what I just said.
It sounds like basically a domino effect.
Yeah.
Boy, Heshi, that should have been you.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess we'll have to find out on that. But I mean, so going back to President Biden, though.
I want to do one more thing.
Okay, all right.
This lady, I forgot her name. She's a representative of the Congress.
Okay.
And here it is. Representative faces assault charges.
Oh, in New Jersey, right?
For protest.
This is the whole thing we talked about with Roz Barker last week, right?
So if we wouldn't show up to court for assaulting 2 officers of the law, she assaulted 2 officers, and they let her do it through television, and they gave her to be released on her own recognizance.
But see, this is a person that makes laws, right? This is a person that's took an oath to represent people, and they do these things.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be protesting. You're
no,
allowed to go to Congress.
But this is not even a council member. It's not even a local mayor. It's not even like a chairperson. This is a federal office holder, a representative, only one of 435 people in our country. It is an honor.
Who control $1 trillion budget?
Yes,
$2 trillion.
Well, it's probably going to go up by the time we speak. Yeah. But it's an honor to represent this country and to represent your state and your district. And this is what you do? This is what you do? I mean, Heshi, people talk about you and what you've done. But what about these people? Roz Barker last week. This one here in New Jersey, the congresswoman. Yeah. What about
and
more?
They get off the hook, even that lady who bit the cop.
Susan Zwang, who, by the way, the Conservative Party strongly supports. The Conservative Party endorsed this woman. The Conservative Party backed her. And Richie Barsimian put no person up against her.
Wow.
Because you know why? Lester Chang's got to get on the ballot next year, and he don't want to go fight it.
We're not going to allow that. We're going to put somebody up. Lester Chang cannot go back into power.
No.
He's not a zero. He's a loss.
He's less than zero.
He didn't even know how to stop the homeless shelter till I came up with the idea, and then he knows how to repeat.
But I'm glad that you brought up Lester Chang as we close the show here in a few minutes, because we know that Carl Kohler, we're not through with him just yet.
Yeah.
Because Carl Kohler does still have to go on the ballot, but while he may have lost last night to Sam Sutton, less than a month from now, a little more than a month from now, actually, we're going to go out there and take something else from him. We're going to end his political career by taking his district leader position from him, because we have somebody that is running against him, and we know that Sawyer Radin's days are going to certainly be numbered also. So Lester Chang might be in office, but you know what? We're going to slowly make sure that those things are going to be fixed, because Carl Kohler's political career is on its last legs, and Sawyer Radin's political career, it's going to be definitely on its last legs come December 31st of 2026. But then this year, now we're going to make sure she doesn't become a district leader to back more Democrats like Kalman Yeager, Simcha Eichenstein, Sam Sutton.
I don't even mind them, the Democrats, but they do nothing. You call their offices, guys, You have your time here.
How much you want to bet that the Republican Party will now back Sam Sutton next year? Because Lester Chang's got to go on the ballot. Michael Novikov's got to go on the ballot. Alec Krasny's going to go on the ballot. And this is what I'm telling you. I'm sure the Conservative Party, listen, they're going to back him. They got ties to him. So it's all a game. Is politics is an insider trading game. You know, somebody told me the other day, politics, why are you involved in it? And it really is an honest, thoughtful question, because you look at all these people.
Instagram went down. I don't know.
Well, you know what? You join us next week, because we're going to have plenty to talk about, because Heshy's fired up. He's sick and tired of what's going on. If you want to help him, like I said, I cannot stress this enough. JustEnoughHeshy@gmail.com, HeshyTishler.com, 5318 16th Avenue. And you are fed up with the status quo, because this is all it is. Politics is about horse trading. It's all about insider BS. And if you want to make changes, and you're tired of people like Kalman Yeager, tired of people like Simca Felder, tired of people already like Sam Sutton, Simca Eisenstein, Starry Heshy, Susan Zwang, Bill Colton, Lester Chang, Alec Krasny, Michael Novikov. Let's get down there and let's get to business, and let's go out there and go make change now.
Now I don't agree with you, because the producer agrees with you. We don't
Well, that means we're getting ready to close the show here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Also, by the way, happy Memorial Day. God bless our veterans.
Yes.
God bless America.
Bless.
Thank you for all of our veterans. And also, Heshy, praying for you, obviously, your family. 81-year anniversary. Horrible thing what happened in the world. And we will make sure we remember that.
By the way, before you go,
Yes.
we're going to be having a grandbaby. I'm going to keep reminding you every week, maybe in the next 3 or 4
And
weeks.
you didn't say your favorite words, saying hello to Sergeant Peter and Mira Nava and Yeshua.
Why didn't you remind me
Well,
of that?
I just did it for you, because my
you made me so nervous
my
at the beginning
favorite
of the
part of the
show.
show is when Heshy makes sure
but
he
you
says
made me
hello
so nervous. You
to
wouldn't
Mira
let me
Nava and Yeshua. And of course, Sergeant Peter. We definitely listen out there.
You forgot Hoover.
Well, close enough. Thank you,
it's not.
everyone.
You can't forget one
Close
of them.
enough. Producer, play that music here and get ready for it. Can't wait to be back here next week, 9 o'clock Eastern time, for the Just Enough Heshy show. Heshy's definitely got it going on here. And our producer, let's keep going. And I can do it for you, Heshy. I mean, we'll stay here and, we'll get you on, be like the WWE. There you go. Thank you, everybody.